The Sony XM4 earbuds are here, packing a long list of features, updated drivers, top-tier noise cancellation, along with LDAC support. Finally. But are they really the new king in the true wireless earbud market? In this video, I'll be giving you a complete review along with a quick comparison against the Sony XM3, the Galaxy Buds Pro, the AirPods Pro, and the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2. Now, my name is Jeff, and if you have any questions or concerns about the way that I receive or review any of the products on my channel, please refer to the full disclosure down in the description box right down below. For the TLDR crowd, I bought the Sony WF1000XM4 earbuds with my own money for this review. This does not color my review in any way. There was no compensation involved from Sony, and no one was able to see this video prior to it being published. So in other words, all the brands will be seeing this video at the same time that you are. So now let's not waste any more time. So first up, the connection. These are running Bluetooth 5.2 with SBC, AAC, and LDAC as their connection codecs. Now these do also feature that fast pair prompt, so when you do open up the case, put them into pairing mode, your phone will respond with a little pop-up prompt. Now, as far as Bluetooth range is concerned, with AAC codec, I was able to get 48 feet or 14.5 meters. When I switched over to LDAC, that was dropped down to 34 feet and 10.5 meters. So there is a difference there based on which connection quality you've chosen. Now, these are also featuring dual connect, which is independent mode. So this is where you can have one earbud charge in the case while you use one, and then you can swap them out if that's what you want to do. So independent usage mode. Now, it is a bit clunky because the music does pause when you do that switch, but all you got to do is press play and it'll keep going for you. Now, as far as watching videos, so any sort of lag or latency, no issues whatsoever, and that was with all the codecs. So YouTube, Netflix, Disney Plus, all of the services, I was not experiencing any issues with latency. That's both on Android and on iOS. Now, when it comes to gaming, you want to use AAC or SBC for best results, especially when it comes to first-person shooters. When I used the LDAC test and I was playing Call of Duty, I noticed that there was a slight delay between the gun going off and me hearing the shot in my ear. But when I switched it back to AAC, that was noticeably reduced. So for best gaming performance, you're going to want to stay away from that LDAC. Now, always remember that your codec choice, ANC, and ambient mode are definitely going to be affecting your battery life, so choose those settings accordingly. Since we're talking about battery life here, Sony was claiming 8 hours with noise cancellation turned on and 12 hours with noise cancellation turned off. In my own testing, now testing was done at 75% volume and done with the different codecs. So first up, LDAC. I was able to get 5 hours and 14 minutes with noise cancellation turned on, and then 7 hours and 2 minutes with noise cancellation turned off. Now, switching over to AAC, I was able to get 9 hours and 20 minutes with noise cancellation turned on, and 13 hours and 41 minutes with noise cancellation turned off. As I said before, your choice of codecs and settings is going to play a huge role in the battery life of these earbuds. As you can see, based on settings, it can be as little as 5 hours or as much as almost 14 hours. So that is a crazy amount and range of battery life depending on settings. Now, when it comes to the DSEE Extreme, that had little to no effect as far as the battery life was concerned. We're talking about anywhere from 5 to like 10 minutes difference on the different settings, so to me, that's pretty negligible. Now, when it comes to the case itself, they are giving you an additional 16 hours or right about 2 charges. In my testing, I was actually able to get 2 full charges out of the case, and it still had around 20% left. So probably good enough to give you maybe another 30 or 40% charge on the earbuds. So pretty good overall. Good for a total of about 24 hours, buds and case included. Now, if you do manage to drain these earbuds all the way down, you can drop them into their case for 5 minutes, and that will give you an additional 1 hour worth of playback time. And then as far as charging the case itself is concerned, we have USB-C and we finally have wireless charging here. So if that's something that you were looking for, they finally got you covered. So now let's move over to the comfort and controls on these earbuds. So first up, they have a new design and it is substantially smaller, both the case and the earbuds themselves. I believe the case is like 40% smaller, something along those lines. But that was the biggest thing for me. The fact that the buds themselves are substantially smaller is a huge improvement, not just for me, but for many people who had experienced discomfort when using the Sony XM3s. Now with the XM4s, I am not having any of that discomfort. I can wear these for 3-4 hours at a time. Not a problem whatsoever. The XM3s would actually hurt the cartilage in my ears after about 30 minutes. So that's a massive improvement for me. On top of that, the XM4s come with these hybrid polyurethane memory foam tips, and these are excellent. So just like your standard memory foam tips, you do want to squeeze them and then put them into your ear and give them a minute to like really expand. But the seal is excellent, the grip is excellent, and they are highly comfortable. On top of providing that excellent seal, they're also giving you excellent passive noise isolation. So that is something that I found really, really dope. As always, you do have the choice of swapping out these ear tips with something like the SpinFit CP360, which I did for myself. They are more comfortable. You do get some improvements in the bass response, so there's that, but you do lose out on some of that passive noise isolation that you get with the memory foam ear tips. So there's a trade-off there. Use the stock tips, you're going to get the ultimate noise cancellation and passive noise isolation. But if you go with the SpinFits, you're going to get improved comfort along with improved bass response. So there's a bit of a trade-off. You got to really decide what works best for you. Either way, you can't lose here. And then last but not least, we finally have an IP rating on these. So these have an IPX4 sweat and water resistance rating. So they're going to have you covered from minor splashes. If you're going to work out in them, it's not going to be a problem. If you get caught out in like a light rain, also not going to be an issue, but I definitely wouldn't swim in them. And I definitely would not submerge these in water. So, but at least we've got something. So finally, we've got that there. Now, on the topic of the controls, these have fully programmable touch controls. Very responsive, they work very, very well. And in the Sony app, you can adjust them to do all of the functions you want them to do. So pretty excellent. You can have them do volume control, track control, play, pause, ambient sound. You can do all of it right on the earbuds. And then last but not least, you've also got in-ear detection. So this is where when you put them into your ears, they'll automatically play, and when you pull them out, they'll automatically pause. And this is something that if you don't like it, you can turn off this function in the app. So now let's segue over to the Sony app. And you can find this in both the Apple App Store and in the Google Play Store. So it's available for both iOS and Android. Now, when you first open up this app, it's going to show you the battery life reading. So you can see the life of the earbuds themselves and of the case. Now, if you move up top, you'll see an actual power button. You can actually shut off the earbuds right from the app. And if you hit the three dots, it's going to open up the options menu. You're going to see a, XM4 tutorial. There's going to be the version for the firmware. You've got your backup settings. You got a bunch of different options and the help section. Now, we back out of there. We'll go back to the normal status screen. This is where you'll see the adaptive controls and track control. Now, in the adaptive controls menu, this is where you can adjust the 4 modes. You can adjust the location controls. There's the ability to register other locations. So there's plenty in there for you to really play around with. Now let's back out. We'll go over to the sound menu, and this is where you're going to find the ambient sound control. So that is where you can control the active noise cancellation, both modes, so regular ANC and the wind noise reduction mode. Then you've got ambient sound, and it gives you the full slider along with the option for voice focus. And then third, you've got the ability to turn all of that off. Now below that, you've got the speak to chat toggle, and that's where when you start speaking, it'll detect it and it'll stop the music and activate the ambient sound. It's a pretty cool feature, but if you're somebody who likes to sing your music or like sing along when you're listening to music, you're going to want to turn this off. And the cool thing is they give you the ability to do that. Below that, you've got the 5-band equalizer. It's got 8 presets, and you've got 2 customs that you can kind of set your own presets for yourself. Below that, you've got the sound quality toggle, and that's going to give you the ability to choose higher sound quality or a more stable connection. That's usually where you're going to get the options between LDAC and AAC. It doesn't tell you that, but that's sort of what it does. Below that, you've got the 360 audio setup if you want to set that up for yourself. I'm not a fan of it, but you can do that here. Below that, you've got the DSEE Extreme toggle, and that's for the audio upscaling so that you can make your music theoretically sound better. Does it work? It works a little bit. It's kind of cool, but it isn't a night and day difference. Now, last but not least, we move over to the system menu, and this is where it's going to give you the ability to swap out your voice assistant. You can use the one from Amazon. You can use the one from Google. So you've got some options there. Below that, you've got the custom controls. So this is where you can go in and you can adjust the controls for both the right and the left earbud independently. So you've got all of those options right in there. Below that, you've got the ear tip fit test, so you can make sure that you're getting a proper seal from your ear tips. Below that, you've got the auto power off. So that's where if you pull the earbuds out, they can shut themselves off automatically after a predetermined time, or you can turn that off. And below that, you've also got the toggle for the inner detection, which I mentioned before. Below that, you've got the voice guidance settings. Under that, you've got the firmware download, so you can set it up to do downloads automatically or manually, whichever you want. And then last but not least, you've got the reset or initialization where you can fully reset these earbuds. So this is a fully fleshed out app, one of the best on the market, and it is definitely excellent. Now, before we move into the performance section, I have a quick question for you. What are your top 3 favorite genres of music to listen to headphones with? For me personally, it's going to be classic rock, hip hop, and R&B. But what are yours? Let me know down in the comment section. I really want to know what kind of music you guys are all out there listening to. So now let's move over to the performance. So first up, let's start with the ambient sound. Now the ambient mode on these is very good. And as I said before in the app, it is fully adjustable. And you do have the option for voice focus as well. And that works very well. So if you want to sit inside your house and speak to your relatives or even watch people on TV, it actually picks that up very, very well without a lot of that processed type of sound. It sounds a bit more natural. Now these also feature an auto wind noise reduction, but when I was outside with the ambient mode turned on, it was pretty windy outside and it wasn't doing that great of a job of tamping down that wind noise. I'm not sure if maybe it just wasn't working, wasn't functioning correctly. I didn't see a toggle for that, but it did reduce it a little bit, but I think it could have been a little bit better. Overall, the ambient mode on these is excellent. Now let's move over to the active noise cancellation. Now the ANC on the Sony XM4 earbuds is top tier. I had to give it its own name. I'm giving it dummy quiet. That's what it is for me. It's dummy quiet. It's so quiet. It's crazy. I didn't think that they could improve the noise cancellation from the XM3 to the XM4, but they managed to pull it off. Now, obviously, this is a combination effect because you've got the memory foam tips, which are providing you excellent passive noise isolation, and you can feel that before you even turn the noise cancellation on. But then activating it on top of that, it just quiets everything down. Not only the low frequency noises, but a lot of mid frequency noises as well. So it's really strong. And I was very impressed with it. Now, another thing that I noticed is that there is no noticeable EQ shift when you're switching through the modes. So whether you're listening to music with ambient, with it all off, or with ANC, there's no difference in that sound quality. That's impressive, especially with noise cancellation that is as strong as this is. On top of that, this is where adaptive sound control can also come into play. And adaptive sound control, it detects the activity and locations, and it will automatically switch modes accordingly. So if like I'm sitting down listening to music, it'll know that and it'll turn noise cancellation on so I can really focus on what I'm doing. If I start walking, it'll detect that and it'll automatically switch to ambient sound so I can hear what's going on around me. And it works pretty quickly, usually within 5 to 7 seconds. So pretty impressive stuff here. But if you're not into that, you can always toggle that off. Entirely up to you here. And then last but not least, the wind noise reduction mode in the ANC is actually very good. So instead of having the ambient sound with wind noise reduction that doesn't work kind of well, if you have the ANC on and you click it on wind noise reduction, it actually does reduce a lot of that wind noise around you. It's pretty surprising actually. I've heard better, but this is pretty good. Next, let's move over to the volume. So on the volume, I'm going to have to give these an 8.5 out of 10. So loud, not the loudest out there, but still loud enough. Comfortable listening for me comes in right around 65 to 80%. So if I'm watching a video with some low dialogue, I still have a bit of overhead if I need to turn up the volume a little bit more. Now, I did notice a quirk with the volume control here. And this is something, I don't know if anybody else is experiencing this, but let me explain. When I have these set up with LDAC and DSEE all activated, the volume control got really weird. So I will try to turn up the volume past 65, 75% and nothing happens. So both on the phone, on the earbuds themselves, I'll disable absolute volume in my Android settings. It doesn't change anything. It's almost as if at a certain point with LDAC and with DSEE, it won't allow you to raise the volume. You can hear almost like an EQ shifting, but the volume itself is not getting any louder. But here's the funny thing about it. If I remove LDAC from the equation and I put these earbuds on AAC, then the max volume gets raised. I can actually go louder than I can with LDAC, which I thought was very strange. Now, if you're experiencing that out there, please let me know in the comment section. This is something that I thought was very strange. It's almost like with LDAC and DSEE, you can't really get the maximum volume out of these earbuds. So not sure what's going on there, but it is something that I noticed and I wanted to bring it up here. So now let's move over to the sound quality. So Sony was touting their V1 chip during the presentation, and this is supposed to be giving them improved noise cancellation and better sound quality overall, giving them that high-res LDAC support and better upscaling of your audio. So overall, so far, it's been pretty good. Now, they also updated the 6mm drivers. They're supposed to have 20% increase in their magnet density, something along those lines, to give it better low-frequency response and add better low-frequency noise canceling. Overall, I think it is coming together and working pretty well. Now, as far as the bass is concerned, with Sony earbuds, bass is never lacking. This is something that they always bring to the table, and these are no exception. Excellent sub bass. With the clear bass and the EQ, it is adjustable. You can add more bass, you can remove bass, entirely up to you. But these things definitely hit. Now, they're not the bassiest of the Sony earbuds. That the XB700 still hold the title as the bassiest of all of their earbuds, but these are no slouch. Listen to songs like Westlake by Destiny Rogers. Man, that's my girl. And the song is a vibe for West Coast summers. So awesome track. And if you really want to work out those drivers with some serious bass, check out E40, You and That. You guys know what I'm talking about. You and that booty, right? That song. Yeah. So man, the bass on that, dude, it just absolutely slaps, and these are no joke. So now let's talk about the mids. And with the mid-range here, it is definitely recessed. It is for sure a V-shaped type of a sound. So these require a big EQ boost in the mid-range. But once you do that, you do open up the sound, you get more vocal clarity, male, female vocalists sound a lot better, but that is something you really have to do. If you just leave them how it is very, very recessed. But I'm not surprised by that, because that's how the Sony XM3s, the Sony XM4s, the XM3 buds as well, all of them have that V-shaped type of tuning, and they all require a lot of mid-range boost. So I'm not surprised that this was the case here. Now, once you do that, like I said, it does get a lot better. And then last but not least, we've got the treble. And like my homie Flossie Carter says, dey aight, right? So the treble, it's aight. It rolls off very quickly, so there's no hint of sibilance. It never becomes piercing, anything like that. With EQ, you can give it a bit more airiness and a little more presence, but for sure, the treble lacks a bit of energy. But that's to be expected on an earbud that's tuned more for bass, more consumer-friendly tuning, so it's completely understandable. They're not going to have the kind of clarity that I would expect out of something like an in-ear monitor or something like that. But overall, it's still good enough to get the job done. Soundstage is actually okay. Using DSEE and LDAC, you do get a bit of stage with it as well. Some pretty decent instrument separation on live music recordings, but overall, I wouldn't call these the most detailed of true wireless earbuds. Can they be improved with EQ? Absolutely. But it is something you have to go in and really play around with to get them to truly shine. So now let's move over to the comparison portion. And right now we're going to compare them up against the Sony XM3s, the AirPods Pro, the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2, and the Galaxy Buds Pro for volume, ANC, and for sound quality. So let's start with the volume ranking. Number 1, and this caught me by surprise during this test, the Galaxy Buds Pro. Number 2, the Sony XM3s. Number 3, the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2. Number 4, the Sony XM4. Number 5, the Apple AirPods Pro. Now, let's go to the ANC. So ANC ranking is as follows, and no surprise here, the Sony XM4s are number 1. The XM3s are number 2. Number 3, we've got the Apple AirPods Pro. Took me by surprise as well. We've got number 4, the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2, and number 5, the Galaxy Buds Pro. So now the sound quality ranking. Number 1, we've got the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2, and it is a noticeable difference. Now, this is also based on the recent update that Sennheiser did to these earbuds, where they've given them this like high-res listening mode to make them sound more like an in-ear monitor. And good Lord, they're so crispy, so clear. The vocal clarity is there, but you're still getting that bass response. And dude, it is so good. When I was going back and forth between the XM4 and the Sennheisers, the difference was so clear. There was no debating it right there, at least for me personally. So for sure, the Sennheiser's number 1. Number 2, we've got the Sony XM4. Number 3, we've got the XM3. Number 4, we've got the Galaxy Buds Pro. Number 5, we got the Apple AirPods Pro. So overall, those are the rankings for me. So now let's move over to some call quality samples. Now the Sony XM4, they do have upgraded microphones this time around versus the XM3. On top of that, they also added bone conduction sensors so that it can detect when you are actually speaking and it can tamp down some of the background noises and focus on your voice. So let me give you some call quality samples of the XM4 versus the AirPods Pro, the Sennheisers, and the Galaxy Buds Pro, and this way you can see which one has the best sound quality for you. All right, so here we have the call quality test for the Apple AirPods Pro. So testing, 1, 2, 3. Indoors, semi-quiet environment. This is what you can expect from the Apple AirPods Pro. All right, so here we have the call quality test for the Sony XM4 earbuds. So testing, 1, 2, 3. Semi-quiet environment, so not too much noise. So this is what you can expect from the Sony WF-1000XM4. All right, so here we have the call quality test for the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. So testing, 1, 2, 3. This is what you can expect in a semi-quiet environment from the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. All right, so here we have the call quality test for the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2. So testing, 1, 2, 3. Semi-quiet environment. So this is what you can expect from the Momentum True Wireless 2. All right, so here we have the call quality test for the Apple AirPods Pro in a simulated, crowded, noisy environment. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is what you can expect in a crowded, noisy environment from the Apple AirPods Pro. All right, so here we have the call quality test for the Sony WF1000XM4 in a simulated, crowded, noisy environment. So, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is what you can expect in a crowded, noisy environment from the Sony WF1000XM4 earbuds. All right, and here we have the Galaxy Buds Pro in a simulated noisy environment. So testing, 1, 2, 3. This is what you can expect from the Galaxy Buds Pro in a semi-noisy, simulated crowd noise environment. All right, so here we have the call quality test for the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2. So testing, 1, 2, 3. Simulated crowd noise environment here. So this is what you can expect from the Momentum True Wireless 2. As always, you're going to have to be the judge of the call quality down in the comment section. Now, with all of that out of the way, if you're interested in checking out some more budget-friendly true wireless earbud options, I'm going to leave my top 5 under 50 right here and my top 5 under 100 with ANC right here. With all that said, I'm out of here. Peace.